In this video, we will discuss how to submit a classification request in the Enterprise Services portal. We'll be walking through each step of this process directly in the portal during this brief video. Now, I'll transition to the Enterprise Services portal and demonstrate this process. For more information about classification requests, please visit the Classification Knowledge article. I'm now going to start sharing my screen. Welcome to the Enterprise Services portal. As I mentioned before, this video will show how a hiring manager or proxy initiates a classification request in the portal. Each time you log into the portal, please confirm that you are connected to the Department of Commerce VPN and use Google Chrome to access our platform and avoid any issues. Enterprise Services requires a classified PD package before you can start a recruitment request. The first step toward receiving a classified PD package is the submission of a classification request. Let's start there. To submit a classification request, navigate to the portal homepage and select Request Services in the service bar. Locate the Categories section on the left-hand sidebar of the page and scroll down to select Talent Acquisition. Then select the Submit Classification Request tile. Please note that if you do not see this tile, you need to submit an account management request for the Bureau TA Hiring Manager persona before you'll be able to submit a classification request. At the top of the page, you'll see a short description of the request form. If you already have a classified PD package and you're ready to move to recruitment, this link will take you to the Hiring Recruitment Request form. Scroll down to the Classification Request form. First, you'll identify whether you're requesting the service as a hiring manager or as a proxy on behalf of a hiring manager. If you're acting as a proxy, you'll select the name of the hiring manager for whom you are making this request in the drop-down menu of the next field. For purposes of today's demonstration, we'll select Manager. You are then required to select whether this is a recruit or non-recruit action in the Classification Action Type field. Let's pause to explain what this process might look like if I select non-recruit actions in this field. If I select non-recruit actions, the options in the next field's drop-downs would be slightly different. For this scenario, however, I'll select Recruit Actions in the Classification Action Type field. Here, you'll identify whether this action is for a backfill, a new or modified position, or a Presidential Management Fellowship Program, or PMF. For this scenario, I'll select a new position. As I mentioned a minute ago, if I selected non-recruit actions as the classification action type, I would see different options in the classification field. For example, bargaining unit status, change in position sensitivity, reassignment, or other. In the next field, indicate whether this recruitment is tied to one of the options in the dropdown. If none of these are applicable, select the Not Applicable option. Since this is a new position, a job code and/or the individual position number from HR Connect are not required. If this were a backfill and I have the job code and individual position number from HR Connect on hand, I would enter that information here. In the next field, specify when you would like this action to be effective. For this scenario, we'll choose Monday, October 17th. As a reminder, this is the date the classification is effective, not the expected hire date. You'll have the option to enter the expected hire date later when you submit a recruitment request. Next, you'll designate the pay plan applicable to your classification. We have GS, FWS, and CAPS pay plans. For today, I'll select GS. CAPS note: if you were to submit a CAPS classification request, you would be required to upload the Automated Classification System, or ACS PD, as managers will retain the classification authority for CAPS. This is in addition to the Position Designation Record, or PDR, and Draft CD 516. You then have the opportunity to provide any additional details or information relating to this classification request. This field is available to enter anything you'd like the TA specialist to consider when you're reviewing your action. Validate that you've completed and attached any required documents. Please note, there may be a delay in processing the request if you do not attach the appropriate documentation. Finally, select Submit to finalize the classification request. ES will then move forward with your request. After submission, you're taken to the My Request page, where you can confirm the details you've submitted. You can return to this page anytime to view your case by selecting Tickets in the top right corner and then selecting the applicable case title. Once your ticket has been assigned to a talent acquisition specialist, they will package your classification request into a fully classified PD package. You will then receive the finalized package as an attachment via the portal's To-Dos tab, which you can download before marking the task as complete. Finally, the ticket will be closed. Thank you for joining us today. Check out more resources on the Enterprise Services portal.